As the debate about fair executive pay escalates, we ask whether Stephen Hester was right to turn down his bonus. Justin Urquhart Stewart, Director of Seven Investment Management, says no. He's in our City studio. And Matthew Sinclair, Director of the Taxpayers Alliance, disagrees. He's in our Central London studio. Justin, to you first. Why should he have kept the bonus?
Well, he was entitled to the bonus, and if he's doing a very good job, and if that's part of his contract, then fine. The main issue we've got with this is we have a big operation to try and manage here to get RBS properly repaired and functional again. This doesn't happen in 2 or 3 years. This has got a long tail to it indeed, and therefore you need someone who is well qualified to do one of the worst jobs in the world, and you let him get on with it. And therefore, that's what we need to have happen. What you don't want to be doing is interfering with it halfway through when he's already made very significant progress. In the last quarter, we saw losses turn to profits. There's a lot more still to be done. Let him finish the work. And that's better not just for the bank, which we need proper functioning banks in this country, but for all us as taxpayers. We want this business to be profitable and to get our money back and make a shed load of profit back for ourselves as well.
Matthew, let him get on with the job. It's a tough job and he's doing it quite well.
Well, I think the question is, why are we paying out, why would we pay out a substantial bonus when taxpayers are still so far from getting a return here? We're talking about a firm where the value of just the taxpayers' portion of RBS has fallen by around 14 billion in the last year. So taxpayers haven't seen the return. Taxpayers are still waiting. And I think that any the big rewards for Stephen Hester, if he does justify that, which for now it's largely it's guesswork, and we've heard lots of people saying that he's making good progress, and if he does, if he has confidence in that, when that money's returned to the taxpayer, then he can receive that remuneration. But while we still have tens of billions of pounds of taxpayers' money tied up in this bank, it just isn't right to be paying out these kinds of big bonuses.
But we shouldn't be looking at short-term issues relating to the share price. Share prices in banks throughout Europe have been very heavily hit this year for all sorts of reasons we know about the European banking system. The banking share valuations is a medium-term issue, not a short-term one. Fundamental issues and changes have been made in this company. The attitude he's had as a leader has changed the attitude within the company, which was incredibly negative before because of the disaster that happened. As morale is now improving and getting a bit of pride back, and as I said, and it's getting profitable as well. More surgery needs to be done, and the last thing you have happen now is to actually have someone who is actually not in a position where he's able to fulfill and carry out this job properly, but has actually got, whether it's politicians or other people hounding him.
This doesn't stop him doing his job. This doesn't stop him making those kinds of changes. It doesn't stop him doing any of this. He's still got his over £1 million salary to live on in the meantime. It means that we simply say that if he does this job, and when we see these returns, when it isn't just intangible talk about morale at the bank and structural changes, but it's actually turned into value for taxpayers as shareholders.
Matthew,
for those 1,000 shares, then we can start to see the kind of remuneration that we're talking about here.
Matthew, isn't the problem with this whole debate that it's become very personal about one man at the top of RBS, when actually it's the system, it's the structure, and it's the way our culture exists?
Well, I think it was always going to be a problem having a nationalised bank, and we don't have these things owned anymore by shareholders who, if they think they're getting poor value, they can not just vote against it at the AGM, but they can sell those shares. Now we have taxpayers who don't have any of those options, and that necessarily politicises the debates around bankers' pay. It means that we can't just say, leave them to get on with it, because we're leaving them to play with other people's money. So I think that is a reason why we need to, as soon as possible, return this bank to private hands so it can be left to a decision which isn't subject to taxpayers. And that's why it's really important to do that, because at the moment we can't leave this to just be the bankers deciding how much they are worth when they're spending taxpayers' money.
Justin?
They're in the position now where this bank is under repair, work in progress. What you need to make sure is this actually work is carried out over the next few years. Don't rush to actually sell it back straight away. Actually build up the asset value value, so we all, as taxpayers, get not just our money back, but a lot of profit on top of it. In the meantime, in this most difficult job, I need the best possible person to do it. If that means I've got to pay top dollar for that, then let's do so. Whether he actually succeeds or not, we don't know yet. It's like asking a surgeon halfway through the operation, how's it going? I don't know, well, the chest is open at the moment. We need to be able to give it time, instead of having this awful issue where we've got, unfortunately, Coronation Street mixed up with Lombard Street. It doesn't work like that.
So why are we, as you say, we don't know yet. We don't know what value the taxpayers had from Stephen Hester yet. When we know, then we pay out the bonus. But giving him a long-term claim on the fortunes of this company, a long-term claim on it through providing these shares before we know what value he's provided, that's the mistake here. You've just said yourself, we don't know yet.
Matthew, we'll have to leave it there. Matthew Sinclair, thank you very much. Justin Urquhart-Stewart, thank you both for lively debate.